and that's why everyone is broke and blames it on other people. What is up, guys, and welcome back to another YouTube video. I hope you guys are having a great week so far. And in this video, as you might have seen from the title, I want to talk about a very important topic in the world. And this topic is finance. Now, finance is a topic that is extremely boring for a lot of people, but more specifically, I want to talk about personal finances in this video. I want to talk about why so many Americans, so many people around the world constantly struggle with budgeting, constantly struggle with living paycheck to paycheck, even if they do have a good salary. And I want to talk about why some of these issues might have not been their fault in the first place. To start this video off, I want to say I am not someone who is the type of person to say drive an old 10-year-old car, don't go out, don't eat like McDonald's, don't do anything, sit at home and save all your money. That is not who I am. I tend to purchase things that I actually enjoy, but the difference is I make conscious trade-offs when it comes to making these purchases. For example, I bought a camera setup to film these videos and to put out content for you guys. That is a conscious decision I made. It wasn't something that I just wanted. I also have a nice car, and that is something that I value. I really enjoy cars, and so I purchased a car that makes me really happy and it helps me work harder. There's other things like my computer setup for editing these videos. I really enjoy having this workstation to get everything I need done for you guys. So, like I said, I'm not the type of person where every single dollar of my paycheck that is not going towards something extremely useful is going in the bank. I do enjoy experiences like concerts, stuff like that. So hopefully this video can be a little bit more of a relatable video for a lot of you guys watching this. Now, we constantly hear in the news how many people are struggling. We hear that the rich are getting richer while the poor are staying poorer. And everyone tends to blame the rich. Everyone tends to blame other people for their struggles. And I am not one to let people hold a victim mindset when it comes to anything, whether that's your fitness, finances, your mental health. You need to take control of your own life in the end of the day, and finance is one of the most important things that so many people ignore and they want to blame other people for. I think the biggest issue that is causing this disparity between the rich and the poor is education. We have a horrible feedback loop of our education system essentially leaving the topic of personal finance completely out of the picture. I mean, every single state in the United States doesn't even require a single class on finances in general in order to graduate high school. That means there's over 50% of 18-year-old kids entering the job market, entering the college market, and they're making huge decisions on their life without even having a single required course to educate them on some of the decisions that they are going to be making in the next few years. I mean, these are kids that are going to be taking out student loans in order to go to college just because people told them they should do it, and they have no idea what those loans are going to do to them in the future, and they just have no education, and in the end of the day, that is not their fault. You can't blame a kid that is just turning 18 for not knowing about personal finances or loans or credit cards. You can't blame them. It's not their fault that they don't know all these things. For me personally, I was fortunate enough where I'm someone who always found that stuff interesting. I enjoyed understanding the stock market. I enjoyed understanding personal finances a little bit more and credit cards and stuff like that. So these are topics that I self-educated myself on prior to turning 18, and that gave me a huge jump start compared to everyone else in my peer group, I guess you could say. So I got a credit card when I turned 18, and I've paid it off every single month on time, and I've built a very good credit score over the past 4 years. And that's something that a lot of people my age cannot say. I mean, I know a lot of people that are my age that have completely avoided credit cards from prior misinformation. And that is another aspect of this lack of education. As much as you can blame the education system, you can also blame the parents that are raising these kids. Finance is one of the most hard topics to talk about, especially if it's in a bad situation. So we are running into a lot of parents, a lot of families that have always struggled with finances throughout their entire lives. And then as their kids are growing up, finances seen as a taboo topic. You can't talk about finances because they're tough. Avoid the credit cards, avoid all this debt, and all this misinformation is being spread to a whole generation of people that might break the cycle of their parents. These are kids that could become successful, could become good with their personal finances, but their parents, their family system are basically telling them that all these things are bad, the system is evil, the system is corrupt, and they will never make it out of that cycle. So that is another major thing to blame when it comes to the miseducation in America. Now, like I said, the issues stem from miseducation as well as lack of education. The lack of education is on that high school, middle school side where we should have kids required to take at least one all-encompassing personal finance class in order to graduate high school before they can start credit cards and get themselves into debt, before they can take out student loans for something they don't even understand. We need to have required education on those topics. Another thing is, parents, if you are watching this, or kids, if you have parents that completely ignored the personal finance topic, do not make that mistake. Ask your parents questions. Educate yourselves if you have to. But the miseducation of debt is bad, credit cards are bad, basically the idea that you are never going to get out of that negative feedback loop is not true. You need to educate yourselves, understanding that credit cards and having a good credit score can actually benefit you more than just completely ignoring it in the first place. I mean, nowadays you can't even apply for apartments. You can't apply to buy a house in the future unless you have a good credit score or you are buying a home completely in cash, which for 99% of Americans is pretty much never going to happen. And so you actually need to rely on your credit score to get you into the door of a lot of those big purchases in your future, even if you can afford the monthly payments. For example, when I was applying for my apartment, this apartment I just moved into, I got my entire security deposit waived, which was $1,500 that I would have had to put up front, and they would have held on to it for 15 months and not let me use that money. But because I had such a good credit score, I got that entire deposit waived, and so I got to use that money towards all my moving expenses, and I can invest it. And all these important things that money is useful for, if you have a good credit score, you can actually use it sparingly, and you can use that money in smarter ways because you were able to have that credit score, that reliance that these banks trust you. So a lot of the misinformation basically surrounds credit cards and debt in general. In my opinion, I think debt can be bad, can be good. You just need to utilize it properly, and you need to understand basically the fundamentals of it and how to use it towards your advantage. I want to take a break in the middle of this video to just remind you guys that I am not someone who constantly saves his money. I do spend money, I do enjoy my life, and the biggest difference between the decisions I make and the decisions that you see so many Americans making and getting into worse debt situations is I understand the trade-offs. Once you have the education of personal finance, once you understand all the basics, you understand what you should be doing, When you make decisions like going to a concert of your favorite artist, or traveling and visiting family for a weekend, or just any of those decisions that technically personal finance might not be favorable towards, maybe you should save that $500 or $1,000 and utilize it towards an emergency fund or something like that. But once you have that basic understanding that you know what you should be doing with it, and you're okay with the trade-off of, I really want to see that artist, or I really want to see my family for the holidays. When you have the education and you understand the trade-off, it makes the decision actually an educated decision. It's like, it's better than just guessing and doing things because you want them. It's a completely different ballpark. When you are uneducated and you don't understand how bad the trade-offs are for some of the decisions that you are making, like buying the brand new car or buying a new house, like obviously that's a huge purchase. But there's a lot of people in America that just don't have the education to understand the trade-offs, that they are basically ruining their lives by making certain purchases. Whereas in my situation, I understand the trade-offs more, so I tend to avoid those really uneducated decisions or really stupid decisions that can ruin my life when it comes to finance. In the end of the day, the point of this video was to tell you guys to take control of your own life. If you struggle with finances at all or making poor decisions when it comes to finance, watch all the YouTube videos, listen to all the podcasts. There's so much information out there completely for free. And if you actually take the steps to understand what you should be doing with your money, then you can start making those educated decisions like we talked about. It's all about getting in a good, comfortable position where you understand your own capabilities, especially when it comes to work. If you understand your budget a little bit better, then you can still buy those fun things. You can still go out and eat every once in a while. It just allows you to understand the trade-offs a little bit more. In my opinion, basically all the overspending, all the bad decisions that people make, especially in America, comes from a behavioral issue. A lot of people will argue that it's the system's fault, it's other people's fault that I'm overspending, it's other people's fault that things are so expensive. But in reality, there are people that are making correct, educated decisions and paying the same high prices that you are. The only difference is they aren't buying the brand new car at a bad interest rate. They aren't being fed misinformation from all these people that have no true education when it comes to personal finances or finances in general. Utilize all the resources you have at your disposal. There's so many free resources. Educate yourself on what you should be doing, and then it will allow you to not overspend because you will understand the trade-offs better, and you will stop blaming other people for your issues. We all pay the same prices. If the prices are high, you are not the only one dealing with that price. So stop complaining that the prices are high and start understanding how you can survive with the prices being high. Because I assure you, other people have already figured it out and they are paying the same price as you are, but they aren't complaining about it and they are actually fixing their personal finances based on it. And I'm sorry if this video felt like a rant. This is something that I have always thought about. It's something that I feel strongly towards clearly. I think that far too many people play the victim when it comes to fitness or finances like this video talks about. Everyone wants to blame other people for their struggles. They want to blame the system and things that they don't have control over, and yet they completely ignore all the factors of it that they do have control over. So if I want to leave you guys with anything in this video, it's to educate yourself and understand the trade-offs between every big decision you make. Just budget, have that emergency savings account. Little things like that will make you feel so much more confident in decisions you make, and you won't get trapped in that negative feedback loop that so many of our parents and teachers and education system officials have run into and have tried to teach us. It is impossible to escape. If you guys enjoyed this video, please leave a like and hit that subscribe button. I hope you guys enjoyed it. This is something that I have been very passionate about, and if you have any questions or comments, feel free to leave them down below in the comment section. I'd be more than happy to respond to all of you guys. And if you have any other video ideas, I'd love to hear those as well. In the end of the day, keep grinding, keep working hard towards your goals, and make people remember your name. Peace out, guys. I'll see you in the next one.